All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Now Morning Show right here on TTT. We're also on Talk City 91.1 FM. And we are streaming live on Facebook at the Now Morning Show Facebook page, where you can get all your action with us live, wherever you are watching from in the world. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be chatting with Daniel Martin Francis, and we are going to speak about his book, and we're going to speak about COVID a little bit and how he has been coping with COVID. Again, he's no stranger to the set here. He has been with us on a regular segment, and when things go back to normal, whatever we see normal as, we will see that Daniel could come back in studio. Anyway, I'm going to chat with Daniel now. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, Carrie. How are you? Long time no see.
Yes, I know. Very long time, my friend.
That's but you're doing well.
Yes. I am indeed doing well. I hope that you're doing well also. But how has it been for you, in this time of COVID?
I'm not gonna lie, it's been very different. I am used to working a lot from home, but I'm also not used to staying home for this long a period of time. Right. But luckily I do what I do, so I'm used to sticking to a particular routine. And honestly, that routine has saved me, because I've heard a lot of people might be going to bed at crazy hours, waking up in the middle of the day. But I really stuck to my early bedtime, early rising, and do my little morning routine in the morning, and right. That has really kept me sane and focused and more or less productive.
Well, you are one that, you speak to millennials many times, and, you consult with them and such. How would you advise them to help keep that routine? Because for some people, that routine has gone out the window, as you mentioned, and, they may not be their most productive selves. How do you encourage them to do so?
Yeah. Firstly, I would say accept that this right now is a new normal. So if you need to take a couple days just to readjust to your new situation, I would say take that time, and that's completely normal. Even I had to take a couple days where I did nothing, just so that I could say, okay, this is COVID, this is our new normal, and accept it. And then, once you've crossed that bridge and you're ready to start something new, just take really small steps. If that means that you're gonna get up at a particular time and only set 2 to 3 very small goals for the day, then do that. But whatever you do, make sure that it's really small steps and that it doesn't really overdo anything, because the worst thing that you can do right now is say that I'm gonna achieve all the things that I couldn't normally achieve while I was busy, because then you'll be very overwhelmed and you'll get into something called productivity paralysis, where you feel like you have too much to do and then you continue doing nothing.
So it kind of puts a spoke in the wheels there if you overwhelm yourself with trying to do too much at the same time.
Exactly.
All right, and part of what you do, your career is that you have meetings with people and you consult face to face. What has changed now?
Oh, everything there. I've had to switch my business fully to virtual. So that means every single session that I do would have to be via Skype or Zoom. Most are receptive to it because they understand the circumstance we're in. I know a lot of people are saying, let's meet after COVID, because they rather get that face-to-face interaction, which I completely understand. Right. Everybody has their own way of wanting to do things. But I must say, though, it is forcing us to be very innovative, to be very adaptive. Like, if you're not trying to be creative right now, you're basically kind of feeling stuck. Yeah. So I've had to say, maybe if I have particular things that I want to do digitally, now is the time to really invest in it, do the reading, do the consultation, and start building it, so that when COVID is over, I can now hit the ground running with my digital platform, and I can still do all the physical activities that I would normally do.
Would you say it has affected your business negatively?
Honestly, and I don't know if this is God setting things up in a particular way, but for me, this period was always going to be focused on my book. So I was going to let all my consultancy and programs take a backseat while I focus fully on the book.
Right.
So it actually kind of worked out in that way, where this is still business as usual for me, because the majority of the work that I had to do with the book did not really entail having to go anywhere per se. But so yes, I'm not doing as much consultancy work, but at the same time, there's so much things that I want to do with the book that I'm still very busy and active.
I want to chat about the book a little bit, but just before we do so, When it comes to your consultancy and when we get on the other side of the COVID-19 pandemic, do you see yourself doing more digital work, and do you think that would be your normal mode of operations after all this?
I believe so. I mean, I think each person has their own way of doing things, but I've been doing a lot of research about, creating something called like a product ecosystem. And I want it to be in a way where if somebody comes to me, they see, okay, there's this free product and this free service, and I can hear him speaking in a podcast or video or on certain media, and so that they get used to seeing me and hearing what I have to say. And then when they see the different options of what they can do, there's a plethora of things that can be either digital or face to face, or even a program that runs a month or 2 months, because I really want to cover all my bases so that someone who comes to me, they feel as though, okay, if I want to meet with him at the comfort of my home, I can do that. If I want to meet with him in a Starbucks or in his office, I can do that. But I don't want it to be in a way where it's only digital or
Right.
it's only physical, because
Right.
then I would only have a particular market. And I want to, when it comes to millennials, especially because that is my main market, I want to hit both ends. Even though we're very technologically inclined, we still want to have both options.
Right. Definitely. Now let's get on to your book. The name of your book is The Millennial Mind. Tell us about it.
Hmm. So the millennial mind came around because, as I said, I've been speaking to all these millennials. I'm hearing all the different stories, all the different challenges. And what became interesting to me was that everybody had a different story or a different challenge, but it was more on the surface, and all of it kind of fell to the same underlying issues and challenges and themes. And I was thinking for a couple months, how could I address all of these things um, in a way that would resonate with millennials? And one day I was just sitting down. I believe it was Republic Day. It was a holiday. And typically things come to me in silence when my brain is just not active. And on that day, I was just completely relaxed. And all of a sudden, again, I don't know if it's God sending me what I needed to see or think about, but I just started making connections with, wow, okay, these stories in this particular way lead to all these particular challenges. And on that day, I just came up with the name and I came up with the chapters, and I went straight to social media and I said, hey guys, what do you think about this name of this book? What do you think of these chapters? And I was getting some excellent feedback. So I said to myself, I might be on to something here. And I believe that these words can truly help, us millennials, because there is nobody who's speaking directly to us to help us with our specific problems. And after that, I mean, persons thought it was really crazy how quickly I wrote this book. But I sat down every morning for about an hour to 2 hours and was able to get my manuscript done in a month, not counting all the editing and the research and all the stuff that came afterwards. And I think it just shows that it wasn't really the month of writing. It was the 3 to 4 years of doing work with millennials that kind of just culminated into me seeing the patterns, seeing the things that I know that I've heard over and over. And when I wrote the book, it was in a mind of I want it to be conversational. I want it to be relatable, so that when somebody's reading it, they're saying, "Oh, this story is really interesting." Um, but then they think back to, "Wow, okay, what in my life relates to this story?" And if so, then does this challenge affect me?
Right.
Which is why for every single chapter, it focuses on one problem, but it ends with an exercise and affirmation so that persons can actually get to their solution, so that it's not just broad, because it's difficult to make something broad and specific, but I think my book does a good job of that.
I want to ask you a little bit of a curveball question.
Sorry, what was that?
I want to ask you a little bit of a curveball question.
I'm only hearing the tail piece of the question.
Yeah, what I said is that I want to ask you a bit of a curveball question, and the question is, you yourself being quite young, and a millennial yourself, what gives you the authority or experience to address other young persons?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's because I've spoken to so many hundreds of millennials. Um, it's like I've heard the same story over and over and over. I mean, I am a personal development coach, so my main goal is to really help them to overcome whatever the particular challenge is. And when you speak to so many people about their issues, all from the same generation, you start to see the same things repeating themselves over and over and over. Not only that, the space of personal development, when you read all these different books, it's not like anything new has been put out there,
Right.
right? So in my book, there's nothing necessarily new. But what is new is that when I'm speaking to persons, it's not top to bottom. It's like I am on the same level with you. I have been through what you've been through. I even still suffer with certain things because I still am I'm a millennial and I still have my own challenges. So when I speak to persons, it's like I am there with you. I know what the challenge is. I know what you've experienced in the past, and I know that what you've experienced in the past has expressed itself right now in the current time that you're in, and because of that, you are putting in particular actions that might be negative for your development. And when you do things like that and you see these kind of things and you match it up with what the research is saying, it just makes a perfect correlation of what we should be doing, what we could be doing to do better. Because funny enough, I had someone read the book and they were saying, I didn't see a lot of millennial terms in there like YOLO and all these things. And I said, well, the point of the book is not for to focus on the surface level things as much. It's really to focus on, we as millennials, we are distracted a lot by certain aspects of our lives, especially technology. And we use this distraction to disconnect from what we're really lacking, whether that be how instant gratification has affected us, how we haven't really truly figured out what our purpose is, but we are just acting and doing what we think we need to do to move forward. And it's just putting a spotlight on that, and then helping you put a spotlight on what it is in your life, and then making positive steps forward.
Definitely, definitely. And would you say, where would you have drawn your knowledge based from? Would you say that knowledge and lessons learned from older persons would have influenced the way in which you think and the way in which you communicate to millennials as well?
Definitely. I mean, the generation above me and above all of us, it's impossible not to get great insight from them. And even the first chapter of my book is called Parental Advisory, and it speaks about, my parents wanting the best for me in all different ways while I was growing up, and how that would have affected the way I developed and I'm able to become an adult right now. And everybody has that particular way of how their parents brought them up, and it might have helped in good ways, of course, but there are also the negative ways. But then it comes down to us now as an adult. You know your upbringing, you know your negatives, you know your positives, and so address them in a way that can help you move forward. Um, but on top of that too, I think what has helped me a lot to write this book, especially last year, I had a challenge where I was trying to read one book a week.
Right.
I did not know that going into that challenge that it would drastically change my life so much, because the books I read totally transformed my business. It totally transformed my way of thinking. And I definitely drew reference from all those books to help me write this, whether it be motivational, business, or personal development. And it just goes to show that no matter how much technology we put into things, really the spoken word, the written word, reading a book, audiobook, whatever it is, can really change your life for the better.
And that's a very nice way to close this one off. I want to thank you and congratulate you, Daniel, on your book. And just before we go, where can persons get that book if they were interested?
All right. So the book is up on Amazon. So it's the Millennial Mind: Success Secrets for Unlocking Your Full Potential. You can get it as a paperback or you can get it ebook version. And I have actually started a partnership with Print Tree TT. So they will be printing my book locally, print on demand, which I think is the first of its kind here. So persons can actually go onto their website, order the book, and it could be printed and it can be delivered to them, which is amazing. And before I go, it would be remiss of me not to thank the sponsors who have helped me through this process. Because while I was trying to plan like my book launch event and COVID happened, I had to make it digital. And through that switch, I've actually had some partners who've helped me through it. And I'll be Unit Trust Corporation, El Joe's Bodega Winery, and Nestle Nutrigo. Thank you so much for helping me through this process to be innovative with my virtual book launch on April 30th.
Awesome. And all success to you, Daniel. And, we need to have you in studio when we get on the other side of all this again, to have your regular segment.
Yes, I'm looking forward to being back.
Yes, definitely. All right, Daniel, you have a good one.
Same to you.
All right, that was Daniel Martin Francis, first-time author and of the Millennial Mind, and also a personal development coach as well. All right, we're going to take a short break and come back with much more. So you know what to do. Stay where you are.